You can't as a guest, but I am recording it, so I'm happy to share a copy with you.
Okay, fine. Then I won't bother. I'll be in and out, so
Okay.
that's why I don't have my picture up here.
No problem. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Welcome, welcome. So good to see everyone. Okay, shall we get started? Let's do it.
Two, 3, go. Shalom Aleinu, Adavo Shalom Aleinu, Adavo Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kulam. Adavo Shalom Aleinu, Adavo Shalom Aleinu, Adavo Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kulam. Salam Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam, salam Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam. Adavo Shalom Aleinu, Adavo Shalom Aleinu, Adavo Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kulam. Adavo Shalom Aleinu, Adavo Shalom Aleinu, Adavo Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kulam. Salam Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam, salam Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam. Adavo Shalom Aleinu, Adavo Shalom Aleinu, Adavo Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kulam. Adavo Shalom Aleinu, Adavo Shalom Aleinu, Adavo Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kulam. Salam Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam, salam Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam. Peace will come upon us, peace will come upon us, peace will come upon us and everyone. Peace will come upon us, peace will come upon us, peace will come upon us and everyone.
Candles are burning low. One for each new day, shed a sweet light, remind us of days long ago.
Good evening, everybody.
You're muted.
The best of tech. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Hillel of San Diego annual meeting, and hopefully our last virtual meeting. I am Todd Kershan, board president, and it's my honor to greet you all tonight. It has been a privilege serving the Hillel of San Diego board president over the past year. What a year this has been. The pandemic changed our lives in countless ways and tested our collective resilience. I'm so thankful and proud of our amazing board and professional staff for ensuring this past year was so successful. Despite uncertainties created by the pandemic, our year at San Diego Hillel began with a ray of light. Back in 2020, when Karen Perry accepted the position as our new executive director, neither the board nor Karen truly knew what was in store for the coming year. It quickly became apparent that we could not have made a better choice. Not knowing what to expect, Karen moved her family back to San Diego, took the challenges of the pandemic in stride, and proved to be an incredible leader for Hillel, representing us in the community, building staff morale, and providing a strong support system for our students. Karen has combined her ability to connect with people and build lasting and genuine relationships, which has deeply connected Hillel to the larger community. Students and community members alike feel more connected to Hillel because of her. We are extremely lucky to have Karen aptly guide us through the unprecedented challenges created by the pandemic and lead us into the future. This past year, your Hillel stepped up, pivoted nimbly, and brought our community together to face challenges unlike any that of us have ever experienced. We stayed focused, got even more innovative, made lemonade out of lemons, and worked harder than ever to keep our community connected while we stayed physically apart. In a sense, it was a new beginning. I want to express my gratitude to all of our generous donors because you make it possible for Hillel to do such important work. Our impact is your impact. The whole community has pulled together during this challenging time. We can't predict what the future holds, but I am confident that together we will build an even brighter and stronger future. Leadership makes such a huge difference. This evening, we will begin an annual tradition of honoring Jewish leaders who have made outstanding contributions to Hillel and to the larger Jewish community. San Diego is blessed to have such remarkable, dedicated, and inspiring Jewish leaders committed to making the world better. And that includes each of you. Our Jewish spirit of resilience and determination and our values of lifting each other up and caring for each other will see us through this coming year and beyond. Thank you. And now I'd like to welcome Rabbi Scott Meltzer, who will give us a brief Devar Torah.
Thank you very much, Todd. It is a treat to be here. A very, very big treat to be here. Also very new to the board and excited for this opportunity to serve in this capacity. There's something really exciting for me to be part of the board of Hillel. See, I do a lot of work with the board in my synagogue, and everybody who's invested at the synagogue is invested to making their synagogue that much more wonderful. One of the amazing things about being involved at Hillel is those of us on the board, and truthfully, most donors, we're not in the Hillel or the community that is most immediately served by the Hillel. But it's an opportunity to give service to create something very important, something essential, something wonderful for the next generation of people. And having the opportunity to work with this board over this past year brought back to me a story. I happen to be a big fan of storytelling. And the story is told in the Talmud of two sages who spent time together, who dined together. And as Rav Nachman was leaving from Rabbi Yitzchak looked to him and said to him, I'd like to bless you, and to do so, Emshol lecha mashal. I'm going to make it as a parable. I'm going to tell you what it's like. He says, it's like a person who is wandering in the desert and comes upon a beautiful tree. Beautiful tree walking through the desert. He's hot, he's tired, he's hungry. And he finds within the tree wonderful fruit to deal with his hunger, beautiful shade to allow him to cool off and to rest. And water, an amat mayim, a pool of water flowing beneath the tree. And as he gets up to leave, he says to the tree, I like a story where you can talk to a tree. He says, tree, oh tree, how can I bless you? Right? How can I offer you bama avarechecha? With what can I bless you? If I bless that you should know sweet fruit, then you already have free sweet fruit. If I blessed you that your shade should be pleasant, then your shade is already pleasant. If I blessed you that you should know a stream of water beneath your feet, water already flows beneath your feet. Rather, I shall pray, rather, I should pray that all your saplings that flow from you should be like you. And so too, Rabbi Yitzchak says to Rav Nachman, he says, how can I bless you? Right? The greatest blessing that I can give to you is may those who flow from you be as wonderful as you are. And so in the context of Todd, under Todd's leadership, and with Karen as our executive director, the goal of this Hillel is to create an institution that passes on the sweetness, the restfulness, the strengthening the learning, the love, all that is possible, so that the fruit that will come from this tree, the students that will emerge from this Hillel will be reflective of the greatest of the blessings that for all who come to make their offerings. So at this night, as we prepare the end of our year, as the students return home, as we honor the leaders who have led us, may it be our blessing that the students who enter in to Hillel of San Diego shall emerge as the leaders of the Jewish world to bring the sweetness, the learning, and the love that they have found here. Again, thank you to all who have given of their time and their energies to make Hillel what it is. Thank you to Todd, welcome, and thank you to Karen. And very excited for the rest of the meeting.
Thank you so much, Rabbi, for those inspiring words as usual. So wonderful to have you on our board. So when I start to think about how to begin a conversation about where we've been, I always feel like I need to anchor myself in Torah because that's kind of the nature of the beast here. So in Exodus chapter 3, God comes down to Moses in a burning bush. He's all about spectacle sometimes. And he's like, okay, you're going to lead the Jewish people. And Moses, needless to say, is actually not all gangbusters for God's plan. He's like not a fan of this at all. He argues that he's not a good speaker. He argues that he doesn't have the street cred with the Jewish people. Simply put, he worries that he's not good enough. But God reminds him in that moment that he is good enough. And every time he argues, God has a response. When he argues that he's not going to be able to speak, God says, I will speak for you. When he argues that he doesn't have the street cred with the people, he says, you know what? Aaron's going to be with you. And in fact, he was reminding Moses that leadership doesn't happen in a vacuum. It doesn't happen in isolation. It doesn't happen by yourself. It happens by being a part of a community and by being supported by the people that deeply care about you and the cause that you're working for. And so I'm reminded by this in this moment that we're not alone. This year has been a year of isolation. We are all in our own homes. We are not together in a room giving hugs, but we're not alone. We're in this together. And together we forge these relationships and are able to break through hard times. So this year has been a roller coaster of emotions. It's been challenging. It's been affirming. It's been uplifting. It's been terrifying. But through it all, I feel so empowered and inspired by the fact that we approach this holy work as one community filled with so many remarkable leaders and friends. As I look back on the year, I'm so proud of Hillel of San Diego. We've really gone through a transformation. We've learned that cross-campus collaboration makes us better. Building relationships is the core of what we do. And at the end of the day, our students are the center of everything. Our cross-campus collaboration has brought students together from all over San Diego. Prior to the pandemic, we had 4 universities that operated uniquely and didn't necessarily, they operated separately, and simply put. But through the pandemic, we've actually seen this opportunity to bridge those gaps between the universities and unite as one organization. And because of that, we've been able to fortify relationships across our Jewish community. When I started in October, the staff were already thick into the year, finding ways to connect with students through meaningful experiences despite the pandemic. Lisa Matenko led the programming staff and skillfully navigated enriching opportunities that brought students from all 4 campuses together. In fact, she has now been promoted to Associate Executive Director, which will formalize her current role of supporting programming across our organization and also serve that purpose of uniting our organization in the function as one organization supporting Jewish life across 4 campuses. Our Jewish Learning Fellowship is a small group experience that meets weekly for 10 weeks and unpacks big questions through a Jewish lens. If ever there was a time for JLF, as we call it lovingly, this year was it. Like how to kind of figure out what's going on in the world through a Jewish lens. That's it. And it became a pillar of our organization this year. And I will say that we were oversubscribed for every cohort and actually had to open up new groups to respond to the need. Students were hungry to use Torah to help find meaning in what they were going through. Shoshana Rice and Daniel Parker, our two amazing Springboard Fellows, made personal connections with hundreds of students, often going out of their way to follow up with a student who needed support. Now, I go back to like in a normal year, whatever normal is, interactions with students were really casual, unplanned. People came into our buildings, we tabled on the campuses, but this year, every single interaction was intentional. Every single communication with a student was with a follow-up and a scheduling and making sure that it worked for the student in terms of timing. And so for every single connection, there was an intentionality there that we're going to carry into next year. And our Israel Fellows were really, our Springboard and Israel Fellows were really the core of that work. When a student was in the hospital, Shoshana was there to provide comfort. When a student just really needed to talk, Daniel was there. And Shoshana, who just graduated from her Springboard Fellowship, is actually going to continue with Hillel of San Diego as the Associate Director of Student Life at SDSU, which is so amazing. Glenda Sachs, who is another one of our wonderful directors, inspired students to use their Jewish values through Tikkun Olam projects by spearheading our Serve the Moment Fellowship, in which students were empowered to create social justice projects that connected 75 students across all the campuses to meaningful community building work. She ensured that students at Cal State San Marcos and USD stayed connected and spearheaded a partnership with USD's administration that was a 10-part learning series on fighting anti-Semitism. Let me just pause for a second. A Catholic university ran a 10-part series on learning about fighting anti-Semitism for students and faculty. And that is because of the relationships that Glenda forged on that campus. And that is just so incredible. It's a testament to what we do. And while we couldn't travel to Israel this year, Alad Konfi and Dar Halevi Feldman brought Israel to San Diego. Both Alad and Dar are forward thinkers and have found ways to engage students that capture their hearts and minds. From SDSU's new program called Woods IL that uses camping culture and nature as a way to learn about Israel, to Dar's Israel Learning Fellowship that brought in famous Israeli chefs virtually, don't get too excited, to explore the diversity of Israel through cuisine. Our students are building a personal and deep connection to Israel. But I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that we are in the midst of a very scary rise in anti-Semitism. Honestly, I'm getting too good at writing statements condemning anti-Semitic and anti-Israel incidents on campus. It's exhausting. In this month alone, we've dealt with a handful of alarming events at UCSD, including a misinformed teach-in about Israel and Palestine, a BDS resolution in the Graduate Student Association, and a one-sided statement in support of Palestinian students drafted by multiple UCSD colleges. At USD, the student government issued a misinformed and hurtful statement against Israel, and at SDSU, individual anti-Semitic incidents are on the rise. I've said it before, and I will say it again, fighting anti-Semitism is a full-time job. But at Hillel of San Diego, we are well equipped to take on that challenge to ensure that every campus is more inclusive and more supportive of our Jewish students. And our work at Hillel is often behind the scenes, so you don't always see it. But we're talking to administrations, we're putting student voices at the center of the story, and we are making strides against anti-Semitism all the time. You'll hear a bit about the remarkable student leaders we're celebrating today, but I am constantly inspired by the hundreds of student leaders that are a part of Hillel. From Ofek, who I met as he was gracefully navigating a tragedy that no young person should have to experience, but who's been the consummate leader, to Bianca, who I remember vividly from my interview as someone I knew I needed to know better. Her ability to advocate and use her voice to empower others demonstrates her visionary leadership. And Josh, who I've actually known since he was a teenager, and who constantly amazes me with his warmth and heart. He has a unique way of making sure everyone feels included and cared for. This is the future that we can look forward to because of the young leaders who emerge from Hillel of San Diego. And these three are just an example of that potential. I'm proud of our work also to connect to the larger San Diego Jewish community. Lisa Kalal and Jennifer Paul have been incredible in bringing new opportunities for the community to get a taste of Hillel. Our cooking classes, our Taste of Jewish Learning Fellowship, the sessions on how to parent a college student have enriched us all. And I also have to mention that Hillel of San Diego is proud to be part of the Jewish Community Foundation's Legacy Program, and we are so grateful to all the Legacy Society members in the room tonight. If you'd like to learn more about Hillel of San Diego's Legacy Society, shameless plug number one, how you can make a difference for college students for generations to come, please make sure you reach out to Lisa Kalal. We are indebted to all of our Legacy Society members. And speaking of partnerships, we are so grateful for our renewed partnerships this year with the Jewish Federation, Jewish Community Foundation, Jewish Family Service, Leash Tag, ADL, Chabad, Stand With Us, JCC, Hebrew Free Alone, and many synagogues. And I am sure I missed someone, and I so apologize for that. But being a part of a larger Jewish community matters, and we're honored to find opportunities to collaborate and ensure students leave our campuses connected to the amazing San Diego Jewish community. I'm so grateful for those partnerships. And I want to acknowledge our incredible relationships at UCSD, SDSU, Cal State San Marcos, and USD. It is only through our strong and deep relationships with the administrations that we're able to make strides towards ensuring campus culture is more inclusive and more supportive of Jewish students. Being a part of SDSU's Presidential Anti-Semitism Task Force with so many incredible professors who care deeply for the Jewish community, and with the UCSD administration on fighting rising BDS initiatives. It's a big deal. And these connections to the universities matter and make a difference for our students. I also want to highlight that we are a proud part of Hillel International and have received incredible support from our wonderful national colleagues. In fact, Michael Rabkin, who we are honoring tonight, is a part of that international team. When I came to this role, I was amazed by how symbiotic that relationship between our local Hillels and Hillel International is. But now I truly understand the power of the collective. We here at Hillel of San Diego are a part of a movement that is transforming the future of the Jewish world. That just feels good. You know, we're like part of something bigger than ourselves. When I started in October, I was worried that I wasn't good enough for this job. I have to be honest with you. But I found strength in our board of directors, led so deftly by Todd Kershan. Todd has seen the organization through the challenges of COVID, the litigation with the Glickman Hillel Center, and so much more. And he does this with this positive, solutions-focused attitude. This organization is so much better because of him. And in fact, it's better because each board member here who brings their whole heart and abundance of skills and talent. I also want to recognize and share my enthusiastic excitement in welcoming the new board members who will help us navigate the future. And since I'm talking about things to look forward to, I'm also looking forward to the future of Hillel of San Diego. We will be building a new Glickman Hillel Center for UCSD this summer. Stay tuned for that in our program, which is a 20-year project in the making. This is a big deal. So I'm so pleased that we're ready to actually make it happen. We will safely be reopening in the fall, and we'll be welcoming a new staff member to the team. The future looks so bright, and it is all thanks to everyone that I have the distinct pleasure of sharing the room with tonight. Thanks to the incredible generosity of our supporters, we are able to enrich the lives of thousands of Jewish students each year so that they may enrich the world. And I'm honored to be a part of that. And shameless plug number 2, I told you that would happen. I can't help myself. So if you're inspired by what you see tonight, our campaign ends in 15 days and we're a little less than 29,000 away from reaching our goal, which is like the end is in sight. And I'm so eager about this because I know how every dollar is spent, like to the penny, because we spread it as thin as possible. So hopefully you can, if you're inspired, you can help us reach that goal. Thank you so much for being here tonight, for sharing in this special occasion, for celebrating our leaders and welcoming our new board members. Really, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for being a part of Hillel of San Diego.
All right, Jerry will be leading the session here with the board slate as the very effective chair of our nominating committee this year. So Jerry, the floor is yours.
Good evening. It was really my honor to be the chair of your nominating committee that has led to the recommendations we're going to make tonight. And it will be my honor to present those recommendations for elected board members and officers. First, I would like to acknowledge and thank the outstanding leaders who served with me on the committee, including Heidi Gantwerk, Jean Galis, Sarah Gimbel, Emily Genowine, and Todd Kershan. Next, I want to acknowledge members of the board who will serve automatically by virtue of their positions within the organization, including immediate past president Joel Smith and the following student representatives from each of our campuses: Lucy Beckett from UCSD, Ofek Sushard from SDSU, and Ben Zarabian from USD. And finally, getting to the task at hand, the nominating committee recommends the following individuals to serve as board members effective July 1 for election to a first term of 2 years: Monica Handler-Penner, Larry Katz, Michael Levinson, Robbie Stone, Brian Wax, and Shana Weissman. And for re-election for a third 2-year term, Julie Baer, Mitch Dubik, David Michon. I hereby move the election of these outstanding individuals as board members as recommended by the nominating committee. And we need a second.
We have a second.
I second the motion.
Emily, thank you very much. So of board members, all in favor of electing the slate of board members as you see proposed in front of you, please either raise your hand or say aye into a muted microphone, but hands up for a quick vote. All opposed? Any abstentions? The new and returning board members are hereby elected. Congratulations to all. We would also like to thank our board members who are not up for re-election, but will be continuing their term on the board. And that would be Julie Datnow, Rabbi Meltzer, Danielle Miller, myself, Jeff Ewan, Heidi Gantwerk, Sabrina Leitner, Jessica Lamont, and Bob Rubenstein. So the second responsibility of the nominating committee, led by Jerry, is to propose a slate of officers to the Hillel board. And since our bylaws require that the officer be elected by the board of directors, we're going to take a pause, suspend the annual meeting. So, curtain. We're going to convene a brief meeting of the current Hillel board of directors to elect our officers. So, Jerry.
The nominating committee recommends the re-election of the following board members as officers of Hillel: President-elect Wayne Harris, Vice President Finance Steve Levine, Secretary Mitch Siegler. For those who may be wondering why our fearless president Todd Kershan is not on this slate, fear not. He was elected last year to a 2-year term, and therefore he did not have to campaign this year. I now move the nominees recommended by the nominating committee to be re-elected as officers of Hillel effective July 1st.
Do we have a second?
I second the motion.
Thank you, Emily. And we will do another hand raise. So all in favor of the motion of the directors to be nominated, please raise your hand. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you, and this motion as well is carried unanimously. To complete the executive committee, there are additional members who are not being voted in but are appointed. One, Jerry already mentioned, being Joel Smith, as still the immediate past president for the 2-year term, will be a member of the executive committee, and then I have the privilege in honor of appointing 3 additional executive committee members. And this time around, I am appointing Jody Diamond and Lauren Gallinson as a seat, Jerry Goldberg and Emily Genowine to serve as additional members of the executive committee. So thank you all for your participation, your agreement to do it, and really looking forward to the thought leaders that we have moving forward. So the business of the board meeting is now complete. So everyone got a little glimpse into what we do in the board meetings. So I adjourn the board meeting officially, and congratulations to all of our new directors and officers. So at this point, I think if we can go back to a non-spotlight view, and anyone who is on video who's a board member or an officer, just go ahead and wave your hand so everybody can see you and say hello. Okay. Thank you, everybody. Okay, so I'm proud of the volunteers that have dedicated their hearts to Hillel and continue to be an inspiration and integral part of the organization. There are a few board members who have fulfilled their max term on the board and unfortunately will be terming off at the end of this month. Michelle Berkowitz. Michelle and I joined the board at the same time 6 years ago, and she has been engaged with a smile on her face ever since. She is a UCSD alum who is excited to be part of the growth at UCSD Hillel. She is actively involved in the San Diego Jewish community, spending lots of time at Congregation Beth El with her family. As a side note, and a bit of geography, my grandmother, who's actually on here, Nana Ev, and Michelle's grandmother met each other through UCLA Hillel in 1945. And Michelle and my sister Shayna participated in UCSD Hillel together as students. So a lot of history with Hillel and a lot of history with Michelle and I. It's been a pleasure serving together, and I look forward to your continued involvement in Hillel as we realize the dream of building the Glickman Hillel Center at UCSD. So thank you, Michelle. Second up is Holly Bierman. Holly is one of the, oh, there's Holly. Hi, Holly. Holly is one of the longest standing board members. Amongst her many other contributions, she served as board chair, even extending her term to ensure the successful onboarding of Michael Rapkin as our new ED. She chaired multiple task forces, one revising our bylaws, and another more recently, examining the entire organizational structure for Hillel. Holly has been a member of the executive committee for my entire tenure on the board and has always offered thoughtful input and creative solutions to seemingly impossible situations. Well, thank you, Holly, for everything you've given. And then our three student board representatives, Lee, Jasmine, and Rhett. They have been our student representatives on this board this year and have truly made an impact in how we govern. By providing the student perspective and sharing what they experience on campus, we have all made wiser and more informed decisions about the direction for Hillel of San Diego. I offer my profound thanks to these remarkable individuals and acknowledge that just because they're terming off the board does not mean they won't continue to be actively involved in Hillel of San Diego. Thank you all very much.
Okay, so if we were in person, you imagine that we're in probably garb because Glickman's not built yet. And we're mingling, we're having dessert. Well, we wanted to simulate that same experience of being able to schmooze, because what's a good Jewish event without a good schmooze? So we're going to put you in breakouts for a little bit. Please introduce yourselves and share a quick 1 to 2 minute story about your Hillel story and why you're here. And hopefully we'll make some connections across the community. So I'm going to send you guys to breakouts and have fun. You'll have about 10 minutes.
Karen, can you help me make sure staff are evenly dispersed?
Yeah. please make sure you join your breakouts. Okay, everyone in this room, if you want to join your breakout, now is the time. If you need help, I'm happy to help you move into your breakout. Susan, do you need to get into your breakout? I don't know how to move you. I think you have to click. Oh, yep, you went. Okay, good. Does anybody need help getting into their breakout? I'm going to turn my camera off and we will be back in about 7 minutes. Welcome back. Okay, we're gonna get started with the next part of our program. Lisa?
Alrighty, 1 second.
So as we said, tonight is all about honoring our leaders. And to kick that off, I'm fortunate to have the honor of presenting the inaugural Tikkun Olam Award. The award is meant to celebrate and honor a community leader who's gone above and beyond in the service of Hillel of San Diego. When considering the recipient of this award, there was no one who better exemplified the spirit of Tikkun Olam for Hillel than Michael Rabkin. Michael has undoubtedly been not only one of my best role models, but one of the best role models for so many associated with Hillel. The role model title is not given, but rather earned. It takes a truly remarkable individual to not only educate, but to inspire. Michael, Hillel of San Diego is eternally grateful for your leadership and unwavering support for nearly a decade. Since you first came to San Diego in 2013 to fill the executive director position, we have been in awe of your wisdom, dedication, expertise, and commitment. You are truly one of a kind. You garner the utmost respect from students, staff, lay leaders, and everyone who has had the privilege of working with you. Michael created a culture of philanthropy where development and community engagement was paramount. He made it a point to spend his days meeting with current donors and cultivating prospective donors. Michael was not afraid to take chances either. He introduced the concept and supported the execution of the novel Campus Superstar event, which created quite the buzz around the community. And that's actually how he got me involved in Hillel all those years ago. In his charming and persuasive way, he elevated the standing of Hillel in the San Diego Jewish community. In addition to leading us through multiple strategic planning sessions early in his tenure and again recently, Michael worked with employees to help them grow into their positions and strive to reach their potential. One truly amazing success story is when Michael worked alongside David Michon and Jackie Tolley to prove doubters wrong. They successfully oversaw the construction of the new SDSU Hillel building, completed on time, within the 10-month schedule, under budget, showing that with proper leadership, anything is possible. Michael also masterfully conducted a mediation with TRLU, which was instrumental in getting us to the place we are today, so close to the groundbreaking of the Glickman Hillel Center at UCSD. Michael, it was difficult for us when you chose to leave Hillel of San Diego in order to accept the esteemed position of Regional Campus Support Director. But we know and appreciate that you made sure San Diego would be one of your campuses. While no longer in a direct position of leadership, you committed to help us grow and thrive through numerous transitions. Whether stepping in as interim executive director during a gap in leadership, identifying and mentoring a new executive director, or guiding our board through generative and transformative discussions, you have been a rock for this organization. Through every challenge, you have guided us with wisdom, passion, and respect. As a testament to his long-lasting impact on this board, earlier this year, the board decided to dedicate the new piano at the Glickman Hillel Center in honor of Michael's selfless dedication to Hillel of San Diego for nearly a decade, and his love of being a jazz musician, which I learned for the first time during that process. Michael, thank you for sharing your friendship, your talent, your enthusiasm with us. Like the best of role models, you are passionate about your work and have the capacity to infect others with your excitement. You have left an indelible mark and set high standards. We will strive to maintain them and are confident that you will always be available to support. Personally, I will forever cherish our friendship and all that I've learned from you and with you. Todd, Rabbi.
Thank you so much, Todd. Do you want to pass it through the screen over here on this side?
Yeah.
All right, I'll just grab it from you there. Thank you. Okay. Oh, wow. Thanks. Well, thank you so much, Karen, to Todd, the whole board, for presenting me with this really meaningful recognition, and many thanks to everybody who generously made tribute gifts in my honor. Reading through this tribute book before the meeting was just awesome. I mean, really, and thank you so much. I have to give a lot of credit to my co-honoree, Emily Genowine, for giving me the support and partnership that I needed to grow as a leader during her 2 terms as president of Hillel of San Diego. So thank you, Emily. Also, of course, I want to acknowledge my parents who instilled in me the value of Jewish community engagement and leadership throughout my life. So thank you, Mom. And to my kids for reminding me every day what this whole enterprise is all about. So thank you for being generally awesome, independent, creative kids. And maybe it's because I'm a Levite, but I have long understood my role as a leader is to serve others and help motivate, inspire, and empower people to creatively transform the community and the world. Transformational leadership is all about lifting up those around you, helping them to meet their potential and to shine. It was my friend and teacher, Rabbi Lisa Goldstein, who taught me this and who introduced me to the true meaning of Tikkun Olam, the name of this award. Now, we generally understand Tikkun Olam as repairing the world, pursuing justice and righteousness. And the concept of Tikkun Olam actually originated with a 16th century Jewish mystic, Rabbi Isaac Luria, who lived in northern Israel in the town of Tzfat. And he was, at his time, trying to understand humanity's cosmic significance by interpreting the Torah's description of the creation of the universe. Tikkun Olam, in his view, is the culmination of an extraordinary process of creation that continues throughout human history until a future messianic age. Luria introduced a radical new idea in his day. Before the world was created, he reasoned, there was nothing except God's infinite presence, Ein Sof. Therefore, any act of creation would require that God contract or withdraw to make room for the creation of the world in a selfless act Luria called Tzimtzum. Then with the words, "Let there be light," the world started to come into being. The light was so powerful, Luria taught, that it could not be contained within this newly formed world, and these vessels that were meant to contain it shattered. This brokenness, shvirah, is what led to the imperfections and injustice in the world. We actually hear echoes of this shvirah in the shofar service with the 3 small blasts. Now, without the brokenness, we wouldn't have evil, but we also
Michael, you froze.
Michael.
wouldn't have ingenuity or the propensity for and on the seventh day, Shabbat, that creation continues as a divine partnership with mystical Jewish mythology can inspire us to contemplate the very real impact we can make on the world through our own small actions, elevating the human dignity of those around us. From a well-timed compliment or kind word, to a knowing, empathetic glance from across a room, to standing up to a bully on behalf of a vulnerable friend or stranger. All of these are acts within the long unfolding creation story, not merely tikkun, repair. The imagery of this mystical model of creation has guided me throughout my career, especially after hearing how Rabbi Eugene Berkowitz, of blessed memory, applied it to leadership. Taking a step back, that selfless act of tzimtzum is a necessary precondition of creation. So too in community leadership. Before trying to create something new, design a program, build a building, organize a community, a leader must take an intentional step back to make room for others. So I may have a vision for how to transform a community into a better version of itself, but it will never come to fruition unless I make room for others to participate in that act of creation. Understood this way, leadership can be seen as an elegant dance of stepping out and stepping back in. So I don't accept this Tikkun Olam award for going above and beyond. Rather, I accept it on behalf of anyone whom I have encouraged to go above and beyond their current expectations of themselves to achieve their potential. Thank you.
Wow. Very inspirational words, Michael. Thank you very much. So now it's time to announce the recipient of this year's Board's President Award. The Board President's Award honors a board member who goes above and beyond in doing the hard work of keeping our community strong and ensuring Jewish continuity for the next generation and beyond. We're thrilled to give this year's award to Emily Genowine. When you volunteer, you are making a commitment to share that most precious of resources, your time, to make the world a better place, to contribute to a more just and whole society. The fruits of your labors make a tangible impact, of course, but you're generously sharing of your time and talent to lend a helping hand and to ensure the future of the Jewish community makes the greatest difference. While I know that you choose to volunteer selflessly and without expectation of being recognized or rewarded, today I wish to do just that. I want to let you know how much your dedication is appreciated and how Hillel is a better place because of your involvement. Emily, you have guided and mentored me throughout my time on the board, and most critically throughout my first year as board chair. You made time for me, morning or night, whether you were home or on the road, and all it took was a quick text or call. We would either spend time debating and processing a complex problem over the phone, or you would just say, check your email, and have already sent no less than 3 examples of how a similar problem had been solved in the past. I could not have asked for a better role model or historian to guide me, knowing that helping to make me successful was your primary objective. Throughout my time on the board, I've witnessed the way you led by example. There is never a task too menial or a request too large. Emily always steps up when Hillel calls. She always shows up with kindness and a healthy skepticism to truly understand what's at the heart of an issue before sharing her insights. You model inclusion by ensuring everyone's voice is heard and creating authentic relationships with fellow board members and Hillel supporters alike. During your presidency, Emily even thoughtfully worked with a task force to revise our bylaws to ensure that every board member, not just the executive committee members, felt equally empowered to use their voices to influence Hillel's strategic direction. Emily is so dedicated to Hillel that after masterfully serving as the board chair for her allocated term, she stepped up when we needed her most, to fill a void and agreed as a second stint as board chair to ensure that we had continuity in leadership. Emily's work does not stop with Hillel. She has been a pillar of the San Diego Jewish community for many years, serving on numerous committees and boards, most notably as a past president of Congregation Beth Israel. Emily's work in the community continues as she's about to embark on her next journey as the board chair at JFS. We wish you luck on that endeavor and appreciate your willingness to continue serving on our Hillel board during that tenure for at least another year. Emily's tireless work, creativity, knowledge, and caring attitude has built San Diego Hillel into a model for other college communities. And for that, we thank you. We are humbled and grateful for your dedication and your commitment. Mazel tov.
Wow. Okay. Thank you so much, Todd. I've had a lot of fun being involved with Hillel, and most of that is due to getting to work side by side with exceptional people who are dedicated to Hillel. I want to start by telling you how much our last honoree, Michael Rabkin, has meant to my own Hillel experience. Past President Holly Bierman selected Michael to move back here from Atlanta to become our executive director. And he was boldly creative, highly energetic, constructive, flexible, and it was just an enormous privilege for me to partner with Michael. It was my distinct pleasure to serve as board president of Hillel 2 times. In my first term, after 27 years of planning, and under the guidance of past President David Michon, we built the 10,000 square foot Melvin Garb Hillel Center at San Diego State in less than 1 year. When we opened the beautiful Garb Hillel in 2014, it was my distinct honor to present Hillel's Luminary Award to my personal mentor and friend, Herb Solomon, a past president of Hillel, who has stayed actively involved for 35 years now. Today, 7 years later, the Garb Center is a magnet for Jewish and non-Jewish students to study, meet, relax, do whatever college students do in a marvelous center where students create community and feel at home. The Garb Center perfectly fulfills the Hillel mission, which is to be a vibrant campus presence and to involve the maximum number of university-aged Jews in ways that foster a lasting commitment to Jewish life. And I had no idea that I would have an encore term as president, but the highlight of that year, 2017, was the San Diego City Council awarding Hillel unanimous approval to build the Beverly and Joseph Glickman Hillel Center at UC San Diego. Many of you spoke persuasively that day to the City Council, and this was a mammoth accomplishment for all who worked so hard to arrive at that momentous day. Today, as we're on the cusp of building our second Hillel Center, I'm just so pleased to see the current leadership, a wise and dedicated board led so ably by President Todd Kershan, and a stable, creative, and engaged staff team led by Executive Director Karen Perry. I'm happy our Hillel is in such exceptional hands. And now I'd like to turn it back to Karen Perry. Thank you.
I get chills listening to both of those remarkable leaders. So we're just so grateful that they are a part of this community and a part of Hillel of San Diego. We wanted to create an award to honor students who have used Hillel of San Diego as a platform to support Jewish life on campus. And the 3 inaugural awardees this year totally hit the mark on that. And we're really proud that each student who receives the award moving forward will also receive a $500 stipend to be used towards a Jewish conference or Jewish group trip in the next 3 years. And we're so excited to gift that to each of our honorees. And unfortunately, Elad, our Israel fellow, who's going to be presenting this next award, is very sick. And we tried to record him, but he didn't have a voice. So I'm sorry because I'm not him, and he's amazing and dynamic, and I wish each of you could have seen him in action presenting this award, but I will speak his words right now to honor our first Student Leadership Award. So Alad says, Ofek, I am so sorry I cannot be at the meeting tonight, but I did not want to miss the opportunity to honor one of the most outstanding students I have had the pleasure of working with. And as a side, as like me, Karen, truly Ofek is one in a million. I'm not sure if everyone knows, but Ofek is the nephew of the most well-known magician in Israel, Lior Suchard. And I'm telling you this because I know Ofek has the same magic X factor. And he writes, and Alad writes in brackets, I'm not sure the right words in English, but I think that that's the right words. So let me tell you some of Ofek's magic. In this last year alone, Ofek established the Tamid chapter at SDSU. Tamid is a time-intensive business organization that works with Israeli companies. Ofek served as the chapter's first president and grew the program to over 30 students. That's that magic. He's able to bring people in. Ofek was also elected to be the AE Pi president and has been a true anchor for the fraternity this year. AE Pi had some good times and some very hard times this year, and Ofek was able to keep up the brothers' morale and even successfully moved their entire fraternity to a new living facility. Okay, this is Karen again. As a side note, they live in the house that like I went to when I had friends in AE Pi when I was in college. The floor of the basement squishes. So it's very exciting that they're moving. And this was really led by Ofek.
I can attest to that.
Exactly. And this is after failed attempts for them to move. Ofek actively participated in all of the pro-Israel clubs on campus and has supported young leaders whenever he could. Everything that he does comes from the heart, and he has his fellow students' best interest in mind at all times. Ofek, you are one of the most incredible young leaders I have had the honor to work with, and I can't wait to see where your big heart, moral compass, and incredible leadership skills will take you. Congratulations.
Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Alad. Sorry, Alad. I'm a little bit sad Alad couldn't be here, but I understand. I want to start by thanking you all for gathering here tonight. We should all be so grateful to have such a strong Jewish community here in San Diego, whether we're meeting in person or over Zoom. To even be considered for this award is a great privilege. I want to thank the entire Hillel staff for their support throughout my 3 years at San Diego State. I remember my first week of school as a freshman. I didn't really know my place on campus, didn't really know where I wanted to go. I was very reluctant to share my Jewish and Israeli heritage. I didn't really want to talk Hebrew with people. I didn't want to share the fact that I was Jewish. I really just wanted to fit in with the rest of the students, the general population. And I remember the second week on campus, I was invited to a Shabbat dinner at Hillel. And it sounds cheesy, but to me, that's what really changed everything. I mean, I remember talking in Hebrew with a few people, and that was really my first time talking in Hebrew with anyone besides my parents in years. I mean, it's been my parents ever since I moved to the U.S., and I really just felt at home. It was that night, and I was just inspired by the community that was around, and after talking to a lot of people, I realized I could make a difference and could really find my place in the Jewish community. And my venture at Alpha Epsilon Pi, the Jewish fraternity on campus, going from a cute little pledge as a freshman to becoming the chapter president in less than 2 years, that all started from Hillel. The founding of the Tamid chapter on campus, where we formed a team and grew a chapter that achieved a charter in 1 semester, not to mention the COVID semester, started from Hillel. And also one of my very good friends, Chris Abbott, I'm very proud of him. He's now the president of the Tamid chapter. So it's good to see what you've built continue to grow even stronger. All of the trips that I've taken and gotten to experience and contribute to, from APAC, Saban, to the policy conference, to the ISC conference, to the Black Jewish Summit, that all came from Hillel. If it wasn't for Hillel, I wouldn't have gone to those places. My involvement with Students Supporting Israel, Mishalanu, JCL, and others, that started from Hillel. My personal professional development coming to school, not really knowing where I wanted to go, meeting all of the connections that I've been able to form, now working as an engineer, that started from Hillel. I wouldn't be where I am professionally if it wasn't for it. And lastly, when I went through some of the darkest moments of my life, Hillel was there for me every single step of the way. Hillel at San Diego State, and I know this is a meeting for all of Hillel of San Diego, but I'm going to talk about Hillel of San Diego State. It's more than just a nice building. It is a beautiful building, but it is the ultimate home for Jewish students on campus. And I emphasize the word home because it is not just another common space. It's not the library or the student union. It is a home. And that's the way it feels every single time I've stepped foot in it. I don't think we always, I think we take it for granted how privileged we are to have this building in our disposal. And I want to personally thank Karen, Elad, Shoshana, Yonatan, and Eden, who sadly aren't with us anymore. I saw Eden is here though, so it's good to see you. And all the other Hillel staff for all the dedication you've put into all of us, but dedication you put into me, the hours that you've spent with me working to better me as a person. I can honestly say I wouldn't be half the man I am if it wasn't for you. And I also wouldn't be a quarter of the defender of Israel and fighter against anti-Semitism if it wasn't for Hillel. For that, I am eternally grateful, and I only hope that I can give back as much as possible one day. As we start this new school year, I want everyone to know that Hillel of San Diego and Hillel of San Diego State is in very, very good hands. And lastly, don't worry, Karen, I'm still a student for 2 more years, so I can still bug you for a little bit longer. But thank you very much, everyone. It's truly an honor and a pleasure, and I look forward to being on the board with you, Todd, and contributing as much as I can. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. If there were ever a student deserving of an award like this one, it would be Bianca Kermani. I met Bianca for the first time on Yom Kippur in 2019 when a bunch of Hillel students were lounging around in between services. Hi, Bianca. I was immediately drawn to her infectious, positive energy. Over the course of my first year as Hillel director, I began to understand that Bianca was Hillel's secret sauce. At the time, she was the head of Tritons for Israel and had the ambitious goal of hosting an event every single week. I don't think I've ever met a student who had such a clear vision for how she wanted to lead. In addition to enthusiastically leading our largest student group, she was also an influencer on campus. Bianca was a campus tour guide for many years and was involved in her linguistics and global health departments and other student organizations. At the beginning of this past year, Bianca told me that she had a dream for her senior year: to pass the IHRA working definition of anti-Semitism in the UCSD student government. I was incredibly impressed with Bianca already, but her desire to make an impact on the campus community like this blew me away. Passing the IHRA definition at UCSD was no small feat, and it took up most of Bianca's free time during her senior year. She didn't do this for herself. She did it for all of the Jewish students who had come after her, so that they could find a safer and more welcoming campus than she had experienced. This is her legacy. But I'm not just here to talk about what Bianca has done. I would also like to talk about who she is. You can't miss her because Bianca lights up the room. She's the person who says hello to you if you are new. She's unabashedly proud to be Jewish and to love Israel. She knows what she believes in and has the passion and grit to fight for her values. She is always looking for ways to improve the systems around her and is unafraid to give necessary critical feedback. She is a loyal friend and she cares deeply about her people. So Bianca, our very own Queen Esther, it is with incredible joy that I present you with this award. You are a beacon of hope for our Jewish community, and I know you are destined to change the world. Thank you for being you.
Oh, Lisa, thank you so much. That was a lot. Thank you. That means a lot. I don't know how to follow Ofek's speech, but I wrote a little something as well. I want to thank all of you for being here, especially the students that are here. This is our first week of summer vacation, so I didn't expect a lot of my friends to be here, but thank you so much for logging on. I want to thank Hillel of San Diego for a college experience that allowed me to maintain and fortify my connection to Israel, and especially to Lisa and the Hillel team that facilitated a Hillel house within open door policy, both literally and sentimentally. I want to thank Shira Zaria for being a mentor in my experience with Tritons for Israel. Shira became a sister just as much as she was our Israel fellow, and she's someone that I still seek advice and counsel from until today, and I don't think I would have had that relationship without Hillel. So for her to be there during the major Israel milestones that we had on campus, like Fact Finders, iFest, and all the events along the way made the experience all the more memorable. It's safe to say that my relationship with Israel faced more adversity than I had expected when I walked onto campus for the first time 4 years ago. UCSD exceeded these expectations, unfortunately. Passing IRA, as rewarding as it was as a Jewish student, I was disappointed that I had to urge my colleagues and peers to recognize a millennia's old hatred, a hatred that targeted and demonized me as a member of our campus community. Throughout the time that we were presenting IRA, meeting with students and orgs and fraternities and sororities and professors and being rejected and accepted, and maybe this isn't the place for us, I found myself adopting this subconscious motto, and coincidentally, it was Rabbi Hillel that came up with this. So as a pro-Israel Zionist and Jewish student on campus, in my head, I kept thinking about the 3 quotes: if I'm not for myself, who will be for me? But if I am only for myself, what am I? And if not now, when? As a Jewish student, it is no secret that most times you were the only ones advocating for our own community. As an intersectional community of different races, diasporic roots, genders, and nationalities, the Jewish community has endured and survived a trauma that has resulted in epigenetic repercussions as the disease of anti-Semitism continues to mutate into different forms generation after generation. I urge those on campus to uphold these quotes by Rabbi Hillel by always doing your research and educating yourself, understanding nuances, listening to all narratives. Of course, I'm talking about Israel, but in all aspects, Israel included. Always be intentional in your speech. This was actually a quote from my commencement speaker on Sunday, but I think it's so true that when we're intentional with what our advocacy and what our activism is, it means all the more. And to never let others define your identity for you. Know when to listen and know when to speak, and continue to advocate in memory of our ancestors, the foreseen legacy of our descendants, and for ourselves in this present moment. Thank you to my family at home and my chosen family at UC San Diego that have supported me throughout this experience. Thank you so much.
Hi, it is my honor and privilege to present Joshua Glasser with the Student Leadership Award. Hi, Josh. Josh is a senior biomedical engineering student at USD. He's been involved in Jewish life on campus throughout his college years. He was elected president of USD's Hillel for 2 years and excelled in this position. His leadership skills evolved and developed over the years, and he has managed to help achieve a thriving and vibrant Jewish student group at USD. Josh was also the founding father and president of USD's AEPi Jewish fraternity for 1.5 years, and an Emerson Fellow for Stand With Us last year. He's been active in advocating for Jewish inclusion at USD and community development. He encourages students to attend programs and events in a cheerful, affable, and warm manner. Josh treasures his Jewish heritage, reflects on his Jewish values, and understands his connection to community. One can always depend on Josh to step up when needed and stand up for Judaism. He always seems to have a huge, friendly smile on his face, a good word to say about everyone, and an eagerness and excitement about Hillel and Judaism. Josh is the true definition of a mensch who is proud of his Judaism. He stood up as a Jew during anti-Semitic incidents on campus, and he presented at the Student Association in a dignified and informed manner, representing all the Jewish students in a commendable way. Josh has an outstanding relationship with everybody he meets, and he even went for early morning walks with the USD school president, Dr. Jim Harris III. 7:30, the two of them were walking around the campus. He exemplifies everything in a Hillel student leader and more. I have no doubt that Josh will continue to excel in everything he does and to represent Jewish values, ethics, and morals in his life. Mazal tov, Josh.
Wow. Thank you, Glenda. That really means a lot. And I'd like to thank everyone for being here to support all of us. I'd like to wish a big congratulations to Ofek and Bianca as well. And I want to express my deep appreciation for this award. It really means so much. Honestly, it feels like yesterday that I first stepped foot in the Hillel of San Diego's meet and greet dinner, where I was first introduced to the Hillel faculty. Notably, I remember meeting Michael Rapkin for the first time and Glenda Jaffe. And I remember her welcoming smile when I first met her for the first time. I remember the excitement I felt to begin my involvement in USD's Jewish community and my eagerness to get involved. Little did I know that my excitement and eagerness for involvement would be exceeded exponentially. Before attending USD, I had only attended Jewish day schools. I remember the feelings I had my first week, feeling the excitement of a new beginning, but also the concern that for the first time in my life, I would be a minority at my school. From the beginning, I was eager to find other Jewish students of a similar religious background to me. During my first month in college, I experienced my first Shabbat dinner and remember being made to feel so welcomed by the small but mighty Jewish community at USD. During my first year, I had the privilege of joining the UCSD chapter of Alpha Epsilon Pi, also known as AE Pi. Here I was able to learn the true meaning of Jewish brotherhood. This experience of seeing a vibrant community of Jewish students at a college campus inspired me to bring the same energy and community to USD. During my second year, I was elected as the president of USD's Jewish Student Union. Here I had the chance, with the help of Glenda and Hillel, to fulfill my goal of strengthening the Jewish community at college. During this year, our attendance numbers doubled. We also created events for each Jewish holiday. At the end of the school year, I had the exciting opportunity of bringing my passion for a Jewish fraternity by founding the first ever Alpha Epsilon Pi colony at the University of San Diego. I was able to use my experiences from the UCSD AE Pi chapter and teach them to my Jewish brothers at USD. The relationship I built from these experiences will last a lifetime and are incredible memories that will always be remembered. One of the most important things I gained from Hillel was the empowerment to combat anti-Semitism in any shape or form. After the tragedy of the Poway synagogue shooting, where lives were lost, I helped plan a vigil under the auspices of Hillel. It was a moving event that was attended by USD students and staff of all different faiths, ethnicities, and backgrounds. In addition, when an organization flagged by the Anti-Defamation League as being one of the top 10 most anti-Semitic organizations in the country applied to become a recognized organization on our campus, I, along with a brave group of students from Hillel, encouraged the administration to adopt policies to combat any form of hate on campus, which included anti-Semitism. In the summer of 2019, I was honored to be invited by the president of USD, who has been extremely supportive to our Jewish events and our community, to attend AJC, or otherwise known as the American Jewish Congress, in Washington, DC. This was an extremely informative and enlightening event where I had the opportunity to lobby at the Capitol and ensure the voices of the Jewish college students were being heard. This past year, I was honored to be selected as a Stand With Us Emerson Fellow, where I had the incredible opportunity to organize pro-Israel events at USD and combat anti-Zionist sentiments on campus. While the past few months have been full of conflict and hate towards the Jewish people in Israel, I feel empowered by the tremendous support from Hillel at my college campus. The USD Hillel will always remain close to my heart, and even after I graduate, I hope to continue to help strengthen USD's Jewish community and pave the way for a bright and diverse future on campus. At this time, I really would like to express my deep appreciation for the Hillel of San Diego. For everything that I mentioned above would not have been possible without them. I would like to thank the people who made my USD experiences possible as well. Firstly, I want to thank Glenda for the magnificent and inspiring work that she does for the students here at USD. She is truly like a mother figure to each student in Hillel and gives all of her energy to ensure each student feels included and safe. Glenda, thank you for all that you do. I would also like to thank the rabbis at both San Diego State University and UCSD for including me and the rest of the USD Jewish community to each of their events. This created a larger sense of community and taught each student the importance of Jewish unity. I would also like to thank each of my friends at USD and UCSD and SDSU, along with my brothers and mentors in Alpha Epsilon Pi, for believing in me and giving me the opportunity to bring a Jewish fraternity to USD. To my fellow founding fathers, I couldn't have done any of this without each of you, and I will be eternally grateful for your love and support. I would also like to thank Karen for her incredible support this past year. It's been a pleasure working with you again after all these years. And I want to express my appreciation to the USD administration, most notably Dr. Michael Yvette Collier for his eternal support and resources towards the Jewish community throughout the years, and also to President Harris. Lastly, but most importantly, I want to express my appreciation to my family for giving me the love and support for me to follow my dreams and pursue a degree at the University of San Diego. None of this would be possible without you. In closing, I would like to end with one of my favorite Jewish quotes that I think captures the essence of USD's Jewish community. Behold how good and how pleasing for people to sit together in unity, also known in Hebrew as Hinei Tov U'Manayim, Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. May USD's Jewish community and the entire Hillel of San Diego continue to go from strength to strength in the years to come. Thank you.
Kol hakavod, Josh. Amazing. Thank you.
Let's just give, first of all, I'm felling right now. I don't know if anybody else is, but like my cheeks are physically like in pain because I'm smiling so big and just so proud of the remarkable leaders at Hillel of San Diego. Let's give them another like round of applause, virtual round of applause. Amazing, amazing. So before we leave, we're gonna leave on time, I promise. If there's anything, I'm a stickler for time. I just wanted to drop this very exciting news that we will be breaking ground to build our new state-of-the-art Beverly and Joseph Glickman Hillel Center adjacent to UCSD in August 2021, like this August. And I'm pleased to share that now that we are officially done with litigation, we can move forward with the project. And the projected timeline is that we plan to open the doors to students in fall semester of 2022. As a UCSD alumni, I can't express what this means to me, knowing that, you know, when I went to school, this was a pipe dream, and now it's actually coming to fruition. So 20 years in the making, and we are so close to getting started. I will say we are also really close to closing the capital campaign. We need about $5.5 million to close this critical campaign. So if you're excited and you're inspired by the incredible work that Hillel does, and you want to be a part of that history and lay stake in that ground with us, please reach out to me. And I would love to have a conversation about it. Thank you again so much for joining us this evening. We look forward to the future of Hillel of San Diego with each of you as a part of this amazing family. I normally say drive safe, you know, make sure you buckle up, all that good stuff. I don't have to say that. I don't see any pajamas in the Zoom, so get comfortable, have a great night, and thank you so much for being here. Take care.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Yay, Michael.
Yay, Emily.
Yay, Emily.
Yay, everyone.
Thank you, everybody, for your amazing leadership. This is an amazing community.
Thank you, Sabrina.
It's been a fun night. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you. This was wonderful. Ooh.